It's coming up to 10 minutes to 9. There are some of the world's biggest stars on tour, and there are large venues opening around the country. So perhaps you could be forgiven for thinking that the music industry is booming.
The reality, though, is that smaller venues are struggling with soaring costs, and now a group of MPs want high-profile arenas and stadia to pay a levy to help support the grassroots.
Let's break down some of the numbers for you. So, more than 120 venues closed their doors to performances over the past year, and between 1 and 2 sites continue to close each week. Whilst arenas, stadia, outdoor concerts are thriving, the smaller stages are feeling the pinch. In 2023, more than a third of grassroots music venues across the UK lost money.
So let's talk about what happens next. We're joined by Hannah White, who runs a small venue, musician John Robb and Mark Davyd from the Music Venue Trust.
Hello.
Morning. Nice to see you. How will this work? Because I'm particularly interested, John, in the idea that it shouldn't be passed on to fans. How do you think this would work in practice?
I think Mark's putting more on that kind of detail of it, so I can give you an overview of this. I think it's more about why this should work. I think it's a talent pipeline, isn't it? So if you look at the sort of people who play those big arenas and headline the main festivals, they have to come from somewhere. A lot of them will come out of the grassroots venues, and I think this scheme is a really great idea. And if it does work out the little dots, how to make it work, it'll make a massive difference, not just for the venues, but for the musicians as well. I think the whole grassroots is suffering because of the state the economy's in at the moment as well. So that makes it very difficult. And the logistics of touring is very, very difficult as well. And the grassroots venues, which are in much better shape, actually, than they would have been 20 to 30 years ago because of the work that people like Mark have done, much more professionally run than they used to be, makes a massive difference. But to keep that ongoing, they need the money to make that work. And I think the people that run the arenas, actually, it's good for them as well, because in 10, 15 years' time, the people they're going to be booking are the people who are starting in the venues now, like the venue that Hannah's running and the venues that Mark has got in his organisation, the Music Venue Trust.
Yeah, I mean, that is the point, isn't it, as well? And when we talk about the amount of money that's going into it, as we said in that introduction, people will assume that the industry is alive and well, but only at a certain level. It's really tough for venues, given everything that the economy's gone through in the last few years. What's the reality out there? Places are struggling, aren't they?
Yeah, they're really struggling. And, John's touched on the cost of living crisis there, but everything, the cost of everything's exploded. Rents went up by 37% on average last year. The cost of energy went up by an incredible 240% on average. There just isn't the amount of money in this circuit, in this sector that should be there. And while that's happening, juxtapositioned against that, at the top level, that 2023 was the best year ever for ticket receipts. And just those two things should not be happening at the same time. And we need to see this cycle where money that's coming in at the top is being invested in new talent. It's helping people to get to the stage of their career where they've got a viable career and they're going to move forward to be playing the arenas in
It's
future.
almost like those who have are getting richer and those who...
It's a mirror reflection of our society, unfortunately, isn't it? But we could do something about this. We don't have to live in that kind of system, do we?
Shall we hear from Hannah? Hannah, you're the owner and founder of the Sound Lounge in Sutton. What's the Sound Lounge like? Give me a vibe of what, say, tonight might be. I'm assuming you won't have Eurovision. You may. But if it was without Eurovision, what's the vibe there? What kind of acts do you have?
We've got live music on between 3 and 6 nights a week. We're a 150 capacity venue. It's very much a local place. We put on a lot of original, new, exciting, innovative music. Some of it people have never heard of. So we're the ones taking a punt. We're taking a risk, but we do it because we know the music's amazing. We know it's good. And we've got a great following. We've got, there are loads of people through our doors. People come through our doors and say, oh, my God, you must be doing really well. But the reality is the kind of investment it takes to do all the research into booking these artists, the admin that comes with it. You need engineers. We've got a lot of equipment. You can see from behind me the footprint that's taken up in the room, the maintenance, the promotion, the PR. It all takes a lot of investment, and ticket prices are at an affordable, generally between 10 and 20 quid a ticket. And people are in here; they're not in here to get tanked up. They're in here to listen and consume music. It's a brilliant, brilliant thing to be part of. But the maths just doesn't add up. It's not a viable thing. And we're in it. We're running it. Me and my husband, because we're passionate. We believe in it. We love it. We know how important it is. It saved our lives. We know it saves people's lives around us. I exaggerate not. So, you know, but the sad thing is the economics, the formulas just aren't there. So we need something to stop us, you know, going under.
OK, I think you've laid out your stall pretty clearly. Thanks for that, Hannah. I suppose, Mark, you hear that. It's all very well people like Hannah and her husband doing this, you know, because they're passionate about the music, and you tend to rely on that, a labour of love. But labour of love doesn't put food on the table, and you still have to have a business. So if we've got these haves and have-nots for simplicity, the haves, how can they help? The big arenas, how can they help? What's the proposal?
Well, this new CMS Select Committee report has come out overnight. It is saying that within this mechanism, we should be able to afford a small amount, £1 out of a £100 ticket, should be going into a fund to support local community venues, to support artists to be able to go on tour, to support promoters to take a risk. This is not, we're not asking for the earth. It literally is a small nudge that will make it viable for people like Hannah right across the country to run great live music in our communities.
Hannah, if you got that money, what would you do with it?
Do you know what? We'd be programming safely. We wouldn't be like, at the moment, we've literally this week, just before we got the call about this show, we're talking about putting on tribute bands just because we need, you know, tribute bands will sell out. It's going to be something that helps us keep our doors open. It's not what we want to be doing. Nothing against tribute bands, but what we're in it for is the original, brilliant, exciting live music. So yeah, if we could have some support to put on a programme that's safe, that's not meaning we're losing money, that's not meaning that we're cutting our staff costs, you know, that's not meaning that we're closing an extra day a week as we have done, to try and just, you know, slim things down to make it work. It would mean that we're safe, you know, to carry on doing what we're doing.
And John, I suppose people who are music fans, they're not going to get the brunt of this. So if you know that the venues are paying, and you're going to be getting to have access not just to the big names, but to the little names, it's going to be a good thing, can't it?
Yeah, most music fans genuinely like lots of different types of music.
Yes.
And most music fans actually, if they can afford it, because there is a cost of living crisis, are quite happy to pay to go to see musicians because they know this stuff isn't free. It's like thinking water's free in a tap, and it's not like that kind of thing. And it's not just the venues. I think what Hannah's doing there, she's doing a great job there and running the venue, but it's also the cost of touring for bands as well. Mm. There's a whole raft of other problems actually of being a musician. But I think it's something we do really well in this country, so why should we deny this thing? You know, worldwide, we're famous for making really good music and culture, so why are we making it so damn difficult to make that stuff exist? It's good for the economy, it's good for people's minds. It's the whole thing is such a plus and a positive.
So what's the pushback then, Mark?
Do you know, I genuinely don't really know what the pushback has been, because we've seen exploding ticket prices and we've seen charges on top of tickets that sometimes I just don't even understand. I don't know what a print your ticket at home fee is. £1.50 to print your ticket at home. I don't know what that is. I know that if we went out to the music community, to music fans in this country and said, listen, part of your ticket, £1 out of your ticket is going to go into your local community. It's going to mean you've got access. You can walk down the street and see some great new live music. I don't think there's a single music fan in the country that wouldn't say hooray to that. And
John, if you had the choice, where would you rather play? A small venue like Hannah's or a big arena?
Well, I don't really get the choice. but I really like small venues. I'm a small venue kind of person. I don't mind. I think arenas have a purpose, and I think the Wham Bam Great Big Show Arena can be quite mesmerising. But to actually, as a communal thing and a space to be in, a small venue like Hannah's is a great place to be. So anybody in Sutton tonight, you know where you should be going.
Hannah, we've got 5 seconds. Who's on tonight? Just if anyone's in Sutton.
We've got DJs on tonight, I'm afraid. There's no live music on tonight. We've got DJs. It's a locals thing tonight to celebrate, you know, to keep us going. It's a fundraiser. So, yeah, it's going to be a great night, really vibey.
I will give you a shout-out. The Sound Lounge in Sutton, in South London. Good luck, Hannah, to you and your husband.
Thank
and good luck with the venue. Thanks for talking to us. Hannah White there. John, thank you. John Robb, thank you so much. And Mark Davyd, thank you from the Music Venue Trust. Thanks.
Stay with us here on Breakfast. Headlines coming up for you very shortly.